So how'd you at 22 and like you said, in college, go from recognizing these things in your city, trying to create a narrative or like you said, an argument so that you could have some sort of voice and leadership in your community? How do you take the next step and like figure out how to build a campaign, get a team, like make a narrative, get confident to do these debates? Well, I don't even know like if I want to run for government, what the first step I would do.
Yeah, it's really intimidating. And the thing is, like, people who are currently in power, like whether that's older generation or the political establishment, whatever that means to you, or what have you, like they they want it to be difficult and intimidating and scary to run, right? And so what I would say, number one, is that if you start at a local level, it's much less intimidating, generally speaking. And I also think that you can have, while your impact won't be as broad as if you were running for a larger office at like a state level or a federal level, that you can have a much deeper impact on people's lives. And I think that what really made the difference for me, so I had worked on a couple of local political campaigns before running for city commission. So I would, anybody that's, in their teens or early 20s right now, who really is interested in potentially running for office someday, like just volunteer for a local political campaign that you believe strongly in. It doesn't have to be local. It could be like a presidential campaign or a statewide political campaign, but get a little bit of that experience, like making phone calls to people, knocking doors, talking to voters, doing campaign events. It's really valuable. I volunteered a lot and did a lot of campaign work for one of our former state representatives up here, who was in Marquette, who was really a great mentor for me, and really got me inspired and involved, to be part of politics and public policy and government. And then I also was the organizer for the entire Upper Peninsula of Michigan, which for a congressional campaign. We're about 3% of the state's population. There's only about 300,000 people that live in this entire section of the state, but we're about 33% of the state's land area. So, it's very rural, very diffuse, and it's all about like that grassroots retail politics. So those were great educational experiences for me. And I also think like I look to as inspiration to other campaigns, like like President Obama's campaign that focused a lot on knocking doors. You see like people like AOC who just worked really hard in local races and got elected by knocking a lot of doors. So that's kind of what I did. I personally knocked about 6,000 doors in the city of Marquette in 2019. And with my volunteers, our campaign knocked a total of about 10,000 doors. And there's only about 10,000 doors to knock in Marquette. It's a small town. So, we really went hard and knocked a lot of doors and talked directly to like thousands of voters. And among some other things we did, I think that made a big difference. So I would say, look for inspiration to other people who've already come before you. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Another thing that I did was just set up there's so many like nonpartisan, like free sites and online platforms you can use to legally raise money for political campaigns. And especially as young people, where our networks are very online and they're often like spread out all over the place geographically, and our friends don't have a ton of money usually, it's a great way to raise some money. So I mean, I raised and spent significantly more money than any of my opponents just by like setting up a little website people could go to donate.
Wow, 10,000 houses. That is crazy. How do you even like strategize and plan around how to hit all 10,000?
You do it one door at a time, one night at a time. I tried to be really strict about it with myself. Like, hey, I can take a vacation after election day. Like I'm every weeknight, maybe I'll take Friday nights off every now and then, but just about every weeknight I'm going out for two hours at least, knocking doors. Weekends I'll do 2 or 3 packets of like 40 some doors each, every Saturday and every Sunday. And that and then also organizing volunteer events and getting volunteers engaged. We had a total of, I think, about 30 different people knock doors for our campaign at various points. And like I said, I mean, collectively our volunteers knocked almost as many doors as I did.